A lot of my inspiration was clearly like Casey Neistat. He is the guy, right? And every day we were watching like Salamandran and Casey Neistat, and they were all cranking out daily videos. From the beginning, my plan was always to be daily, and I was for about 3 years. And if you look at my channel now, there's big 3 day gaps sometimes.
Is there like a business around the car stuff? Like, are you fixing them up and then selling them, or is it just like a hobby?
I'd say I don't make any money on the cars that I like flip. Usually, I'd say I break even. I grew up wanting supercars. I don't want a 2003 Honda Accord. I didn't do any work in life so I could buy a pedestrian car.
It's like the Kanye line, like, what do you think I rap for to push a rap for?
What you think I rap for? To push a rap for?
Twitter's been saying that $500 cars are back. So I made a whole video where we looked for $500 cars. There was not one of those that was worth buying. Things went crazy during COVID. Now everybody that has a $300 car, maybe a $500 car, wants like $3,000 for it. And as time goes on, I'm like, these emissions regulations weren't the worst thing for us. I don't think anyone's forcing you or trying to take your freedom by giving you EVs, but I do think like the shift to EV is inevitable. I'd say like 75% of Tesla's customers are people that were like reaching to afford that car because they wanted something cool with a Tesla logo on it. They spent everything they had to buy that car, right? It's like a 72-month loan that they're paying $1,800 a month for some Model 3, and now their car is worth like 25. Everyone's like, they signed up for it, but really, did they sign up for it? Because there's never been another car in history that's depreciated like this. They literally destroyed the lives of their own consumers.
JR, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Max.
You've got a large YouTube channel where you do a bunch of car stuff. We also follow each other on Twitter. You do some Airbnb stuff, some real estate stuff. You've got a tech channel on YouTube as well. I just think you're an interesting guy. We've interacted, have share some common hobbies or business interests, but wanted to have you on to talk. And for people that don't know you, just quick background, and we'll go into it.
Sure. So I worked in tech for like 12 years or something like that. And while I was doing that, I was kind of making some car videos on YouTube, rebuilding a few cheaper cars, things like that. And then I transitioned to full-time YouTube about 5 years ago. And then it was mostly cars. And now, for some reason, I build houses most of the time, but sometimes it's cars.
It's crazy. So what were you doing in the tech space before coming over?
Storage. I was, kind of network help desk, kind of all in one because it was a college, right? So pretty small IT staff there for years, and then after that, I was at NetApp for close to 7 or 8 years, something like that. So enterprise storage.
So how'd you get so handy with all these other things? Because I watch your stuff and I'm like, seems like you're working on or just doing all these different things, whether it's like house stuff, builds, or cars, taking them apart. I mean, how did you get that background? Was that always something you're into?
Yeah, so I kind of grew up working on everything with my dad. We fixed everything growing up. Started working on engines when I was like 5. That's when I rebuilt my first lawnmower engine, which is a great place to get started with engines if you want to get into that. Single cylinder engines are the best, like the most fun and rewarding things to work on. And I rebuilt a lot of lawnmowers and washing machines and dryers. That's how I made like money when I was a little kid. We'd go pick up all the dryers and washers they throw away behind Sears and stuff like that. And we'd load up like whatever looked pretty nice and was broken. They said we could have it all always because it was just going to the trash. And we'd take it home, put new timers in the washing machines, things like that, get the valves working, and then sell them for like 50 bucks at garage sales. And the same thing with mowers, lots of flipping push mowers and riding mowers and stuff like that. So you get kind of handy with the single cylinders and electronics, high voltage, low voltage. You just kind of work on everything. And I did all that stuff with my dad, and then went on to rebuilding more car engines and more cars and working on my own cars. And it just kind of goes from there, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like something that's lost on like young people nowadays. And like, yeah, I even consider me relatively young, even though I'm almost 40. But like, like I've done a few handy projects, took like wood shop in high school and, did like, tinkered with things. But as I've gotten older, I don't have the time. I got a bunch of little kids, but I think it's like a really valuable skill set that it just seems like not a lot of people. It's not like back when my dad was in school, they did like metal shop, wood shop. It was like everybody was all in those things. I mean, do you see that too with like young people not being as into knowing how to do these things?
100%. And the other problem is it's not a problem. I don't want to say this is a problem, but we're comfortable now, right? We don't have to fix things. We've kind of gotten to the point where a lot of stuff that needed to be fixed back in those days is just disposable now. You know, we're like, you don't need to fix a TV. Why would you like spend a bunch of time? Plus, CRT TVs back in the day were repairable. Old radios were repairable. But now everything is like surface mount components, very hard to repair. TVs are free. It's like Walmart is trying to
Yeah.
give them to you when you leave, you know? So why would you fix a lot of stuff? And since there's no reason to fix the stuff, you don't gain like the skill set of working on those things. And the same thing with mowers, they became basically disposable. You know, washing machines are the opposite of that because now they're thousands of dollars, but they're
Right.
also infinitely harder to repair.
Yeah.
So it's tough. Like, how do you bridge that gap from going from simple repairs to you need diagnostic software to work on the washing machine now? You know, like
Right.
it's a really tough conversation. Like, yeah, people don't have the skill set, but how are they going to gain the skill set? Because it's a huge bridge to jump across. Huge bridge.
I would like for my kids to get into that stuff, and maybe it's like, I've got a brother-in-law that's really into building computers. I mean, maybe you teach him. Maybe it's like you start with, like you said, lawnmower engines, and then maybe on the other side of the coin, you do like, putting together your own desktop or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the best cross skills would be on
I mean,
learning.
building computers is awesome, and honestly, one of the things that's still relatively easy to do that people can figure out like quickly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can still mess it up, but for the most part, building computers now is straightforward and a lot of fun. A lot of people, I think, have more fun building their desktop computers than they do playing with anything. I know I do. I don't play any games, but the computer's got a 4090 and 128 gigs of RAM in it. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but it does.
Right.
It's
Right.
just cool. Yeah.
For sure. So jump into you like I think I'm really interested in I want to talk about like the car stuff. I've got questions about just what's going on with cars right now. There's a bunch of different ways to take that, angles to take it. And there's like car content's like super popular. I mean, look at like there's so many YouTube channels that do car content and they all seem to get really good views or most of them. You've got like the used car dealership guy on Twitter who's grown this giant brand with that stuff. So it just seems like car and automobile content in general, it just seems really popular and a huge total addressable market because lots of people like it. But before we get into that stuff, like just going to YouTube full time, was it like a hey, I'm just gonna do this because I'm tired of my job, or was it like I'm committed to this? I mean, it seems like you put out a ton of videos, like one a day or something going in. Like, but just go through the psychology of that.
Oh, well, okay. So one a day was the goal from the beginning and always has been the goal. A lot of my inspiration was clearly like Casey Neistat.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say Casey Neistat's like that guy.
He is the guy, right? And every day we were watching like Salamandrin and Casey Neistat before Salamandrin imploded. But they were making incredible content. Like you could come home from work or whatever you were doing and watch those two and just be having the greatest day. Incredible videos, well produced. Obviously, Casey's like the king of YouTube production, and they were all cranking out daily videos. So from the beginning, my plan was always to be daily, and I was for about 3 years, probably close to 900 of the videos, I'd say were consecutive with a couple skips. I don't want to give myself too much credit because there are YouTubers like Shmi and Vehicle Virgins. I think Vehicle Virgins did 475 in a row or something with no misses. And I think Shmi has done 10 years in a row with no misses.
That's
So,
crazy.
and if you look at my channel now, there's big 3 day gaps sometimes because I'm too busy
Big
working.
3 day gaps. Come on, 3 days is nothing.
Yeah, yeah. It
I
hurts me. It hurts
well,
inside when I miss.
because you're, like, committed to it, and I've kinda, like I have other jobs that I'm full-time in doing, so I've, kind of committed to doing, like at first, it was, like, 1 podcast a week, and then for, like, almost 2 years, I was doing 2 podcasts a week, and I just kinda got burnt out. I was like, "Man, this is" and also too, like, podcast in a video format, it's kinda like yeah, right now, what I've kind of gravitated towards, at least for this time period, is that I want to do at least one every 2 weeks, and then cut it up into clips and give people more to digest, like shorts and clips. Because I mean, you have to be really hardcore unless you're, yes, there are some podcasts where people are watching like 2 or 3 of them a week, but I just think that it's important to like keep some kind of a cadence. And the content game is something where you can go as deep and hard as you want to because there's no regulator on it. You could be doing multiple channels, multiple videos a day. But how do you balance that? Like, feeling of being like, "Oh, I'm not doing enough, because I didn't put out one a day."
You don't at all. It every single day that I miss is painful. Like I'm like I just failed, you know? So there's a lot of failure in there, and sometimes the failure like makes it worse, right? So
Yeah.
I don't give myself any like grace period or anything like that. I just expect that if there wasn't a video, that day was like a loss of that 24 hours of my life.
Do you edit them too? Are you editing it as
Absolutely.
well?
I do it all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
That's a lot, man.
it is shoot, edit, same day, release at 11:45 that night.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I need a project every day too, which is a little tricky because right now, while I'm building houses, people don't love the consecutive house videos. So I have to like stop working on the house and then work on a car and then get back into the house. And it's become a bit of a nightmare. So I'm trying to back away from my building houses, Airbnb content, stuff like that.
Have you thought about just doing like, I mean, you did it, you have this separate tech channel. Have you thought about just doing like a separate house channel as well?
No, no, I haven't because WatchJRGO, like I said, was like a Casey Neistat inspired daily vlog about my life, not really
Right.
like a specific car thing. People think it's supposed to be a specific car thing, but it's really supposed to be here's what I'm doing today. So
I kind of love that though. I think that's like such a smart way to view it because, people are more than just some one-dimensional thing, right? Like you obviously have other interests other than just working
absolutely.
on cars.
Yeah. So the thing is, I found that there are limits. Like I made episodes on 3D printers where I'm like, I can't release this. No one's gonna watch me messing with my 3D printers. Like that's so far out of the scope. But yeah, I did split the tech channel off, and I do have a studio for that, which is old technology. Some of my favorite things, the amazing era of not smartphones, but feature phones, things like that. You know, the Nokias, the Motorola Razors, and stuff like that. I have a whole channel for that stuff, first gen iPods, and all that cool stuff. So that stuff had to be split off because it makes no sense on my main channel.
Well, we grew up, I mean, I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you care telling people, but I'm assuming we're relatively similar. Maybe you're a little younger
About
than
the
me.
same age. I would tell
Yeah.
you, but and it's pretty easy to find on the internet, but it's been a long-standing thing that nobody knows how old I am, and I'm trying to look 20 forever, even though my hair is
Yeah.
gray.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, it's like at least for the age I'm at, it's like we got to see this giant shift from, it really being like growing up. There was like no internet, no cable at my house. I lived in kind of a rural house, and then it was like dial-up internet. Finally, got cable TV, and then it went from to like flip phones for a number of years, and then no social media to like MySpace to then like the old school Facebook. I mean, we've just seen like such a shift, and I'm not saying things haven't changed the last 10 years, but it seems like kinda incremental upgrades. It's like, oh, the app got different, you scroll differently, or like, got a better camera. It wasn't like heck, I remember, like, when I first heard about Wi-Fi, I was like, "That doesn't even make any sense." Like, it floats in the air, like the internet? Like, how do you even, like you just, like, connect
Yes.
anywhere? Where's the cord at?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like
early
those type of
days.
jumps.
Absolutely. Yeah, when we had to still install Wi-Fi cards, like 802.11g cards and B cards and stuff like that, 11 megs a second. And of course, dial-up. And what was really cool was growing up in the transitional period that we did, a lot of IT troubleshooting skills came naturally to all of us. Like, it's kind of lost in the newer generation because all of their stuff always worked. They don't
Right.
have any questions, right? You just put in the Wi-Fi network password and things have always worked. The internet's always been there. They don't understand how the internet gets to their device or what to work on to solve problems. So
Yeah.
that was one really good thing about growing up in like the early internet era. And I wouldn't say we're early because every time I say that, I get called out by a whole bunch of people that are like, "Well, BBS and
Right.
before dial-up." So I don't want to say I was too early because I'm from the dial-up generation, starting with like Windows 3.1, and when I was a little kid, my dad had his computers that ran just DOS, and I kind of
Yeah.
learned from just DOS. So yeah, we learned a lot growing up and went through a lot of different stages of hardware connectivity, and we got to see it all and learn how to kind of fix it all, which was amazing.
Well, I encourage you to keep the tech channel going because I try to consume at least a couple hours of people's content before I have them on. I went and watched some of those videos. I really like that stuff. I think it's interesting to me, and I think it would do really well if you kept it up. But
And
one, yeah, go
the
ahead.
other thing, just this is an offshoot because we were talking about kind of content and you breaking stuff up into shorts too. The tech throwback channel can be broken up into shorts, and my main channel does not make sense as bite-sized pieces because you need to know like they're long form stories of my days that only make sense if you saw like 7 videos. So if
Yeah.
you just try to jump in, it's not like a bite-sized consumable piece of content, which I should stop doing because as we move on, attention spans get shorter, less people watch long form content, even though it's clearly the moneymaker. But the longer the content, just like the less it seems to make sense. And also, shorts is the growth factor. So it's good
Yeah.
that you're looking for shorts out of the podcast, I think. And Tech Throwback also exists to look for shorts, but I'm really bad about making them.
Yeah. It's tough to make them unless you want to spend the time. It's almost like you have to think of those, have that in mind whenever you're filming the longer form content. And I think that like the it's interesting. Like I enjoy the long form content a lot, but I know people's attention spans these days and the shorts, the algorithm's weird on them. Like mine always get like the same amount of views. Like every time it's like 500 views per short or something. Like I've had a few get like tens of thousands, but it's like every short, it's like almost like YouTube pushes them at least a certain amount to give you some. I don't know. It's weird. If you ever mess around with them, you'll see what I'm talking about. The algorithm's different for that stuff.
I've seen, it's actually funny. So a lot of people say this isn't true, but on TikTok, I found that every third upload does really well because it's
Mm,
like yeah, it shouldn't be that algorithmic. It shouldn't be every third, but I think every third they're like, let's see if this works. So they push it a little bit.
yeah.
And if it doesn't work, you get 40 views for the next two TikToks. And then the next one, you see 1,000 and you wonder why. But it seems like every third, which is funny. Not on YouTube or Reels or anything like that. But TikTok seems pretty regular, and obviously TikTok's a huge growth driver if you can do it.
Yeah.
It's
It,
tough to do it at our age. I don't know why. It's just
It
weird.
is, yeah, it is weird to do it. I mean, I don't know. I've had a few things go off on TikTok, but I don't really post on it that much. Like I had like one clip I posted from not even my content. I was just posting clips that I like from things, and that like went off and got all these views. And then like it was where I was just playing around, and then I got 15,000 followers, and I like never really posted again. And I just like I don't know. I feel like I need to keep posting on it, but I just don't.
Exactly. It's so much work too. Unbelievable how much work it is posting to 3 different platforms. I know it seems like if you don't do that, it probably sounds like the most trivial thing. Like, oh, you reposted a video to 3 platforms. No, it's a nightmare to post to 3 different platforms. All the changes and like tagging, hashtags, re-edits for the platform. A lot of them, like if you don't upload natively, like YouTube Shorts hates it when they're not native uploads.
Hmm.
It's a whole thing, and you
It is a
spend
whole thing.
a lot of time on it.
Well, yeah, we could talk about the content stuff a bunch, and I can like nerd out on it because I've done it for a few years and I like it. But I want to pivot to cars a little bit. I mean, you post a bunch of stuff on the car front. A lot of it's like sometimes it'll be almost like a review of a new car that's out. It'll be you fixing up old cars. Is there like a business around the car stuff? Like, are you fixing them up and then selling them, or is it just like a hobby?
I'd say I don't make any money on the cars that I like flip. Usually, I'd say I break even, which is something. There are a lot of people that are doing car content creation that don't even try to break even on the cars. I need to break even on the cars, so I try to like get my purchase price plus whatever parts went into it back out of the car when I sell it. And
Yeah.
as long as I do that, I'm happy because the content was like the mission, right? For the most part. Um, those cars I don't have a lot of passion in, but there are a lot of cars that I buy for me, and those ones don't do well on the content side, but I enjoy them. So there's like two sides of that coin. But like I said, don't really make money on the cars normally. Once in a while.
What What are the ones that you've bought for yourself that you like? What is stuff that you just are like, I just want this?
Rich's IA, that was a great one. My McLaren. Um, there's quite my twin turbo R8 was one that like a dream car. It turned out it wasn't great, but still,
Yeah.
that was fun. But mostly the supercars and my '67 Camaro. Those are usually my the ones that I actually want. I grew up wanting supercars. I don't want a 2003 Honda Accord. And for some reason on my channel, it seems like there's a mindset where people really do. Maybe they just didn't have cars, but that's not like. I didn't do any work in life, so I could buy a pedestrian car that can get me to work and back, you know. I did the work so I could have an Enzo, even though I'm never going to have an Enzo. You
It's
know?
like the Kanye line, like, "What do you think I rap for to push a RAV4," or whatever. You know what I'm
Exactly.
talking
Isn't that
about?
such a great line? Yeah, that's an amazing line. So it's pretty funny that the cheap stuff, the cheap cars do work well on the channel, so I do them, but it actually hurts me a lot inside to do those because I'm like, ah, here we go. Another car that I'm going to do all this labor on and then barely break even, and I don't want to drive it more than like 3 miles. But then, you know, you have like a McLaren and you're out having the greatest time of your life, but the content makes people hate you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah,
I
it's
think
kind
that's
of it's
yeah, unless you're just
interesting.
like unless your whole brand is, like, flexing with McLarens, then it's probably not.
Yeah, that's true. And a lot of people do that. Like Stradman, actually, no one hates Stradman, and he does a great job presenting the cars.
Yeah,
So there's that.
definitely.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different ways to go about it, but
So following the car market, I know you're not like the used car or the car dealership guy on Twitter, but I'm sure you've got like your finger somewhat on the pulse of the market a little bit at least. I mean, like
a little bit.
you saw the craziness during COVID. That obviously impacts everybody who's into cars because used car prices went nuts. There was like shortages on new cars, on parts. Now you're hearing
Everything.
yeah, now you're hearing narratives like on Twitter. It seems like every other day or every week, I see someone being like, car prices are crashing and the used car market's great deals. I mean, just in general, what are your thoughts on what's gone on the last couple of years and what's going on today with new and used cars?
So things went crazy during COVID and changed the expectations of the market a lot. That's kind of my view on it, right? Now everybody that has a $300 car, maybe a $500 car, wants like 3,000 for it, you know, the pedestrian stuff that gets you to work and back. So that has made it really hard for people to attain like cheap transportation, the people that actually need the cheap stuff. And also, those cars have become extremely unreliable. We were talking about this yesterday because Twitter's been saying that $500 cars are back. So I made a whole video where we looked for $500 cars. There was not one of those that was worth buying. Um, and back in the day, of course, you could find $500 cars and they needed something like tires or an alternator, right? They still ran and
Right.
drove. But now every one of those cars needs an engine. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no affordable transportation left in that section of the market. So now I think like the real entry level to the market has been pushed up to about $5,000 if you want something that will actually get you around. Um, and of course, everyone that paid crazy money for their brand new cars, over sticker, everything like that, they're still trying to get back out of those and they're underwater in them too, which is tough, right? Like I do think repos are up. I've heard they're the highest numbers of all time. I haven't seen like the data to back that up, but repos are probably up because people are very underwater and those people are trying to get out and have like artificially inflated the market by listing their cars for sale for what they owe or something like that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, the numbers have definitely gone up. um, but on like the reality side, if you talk to hang out with the dealership guys and stuff like that, like, the deals are definitely there because people need out of the cars and they're getting out of them to the dealerships. um, so like $5,000 6,000 cars are definitely out there, and the market, I will say, has softened a bit, quite a bit.
Yeah. For sure. Well, it's crazy how, I mean, everybody says this. This is kind of an overused talking point, but it's crazy how much cars have just gone up in price in general to me. I remember my first car was like a 1990 Chevy Blazer Tahoe S10 package, and it was like I think my dad paid a couple grand for it. It didn't have that. I mean, it was old. Like I got my license in like 2002 or three, so it was like over 10 years old, but it didn't have that many miles because the guy just had it sitting in a garage. But it was like didn't hardly cost anything. I mean, compared to now, right? You spend like 2,500, 3,000 bucks on a car. I think it had like 50,000 miles on it or something, and it worked great for the time that I had it. But nowadays, like you're seeing like old beat up trucks that are like trash, and it's like 20 grand, 18,000 or 20,000 for like some old truck. And I'm like, what? Like this is like,
The OBS market overall is great. Like exactly the truck you had now is worth, in reality, like $13,000 if it's even a little bit clean. Like 13, 10 to 13 is the bottom of the market for those. which that's pretty nuts, but it's also a very special case, right? People love the OBS Chevys, the square grills, beautiful, beautiful cars, honestly. And they
Yeah.
did they ran forever. The ran forever thing's been like misconstrued in everyone's heads now to mean 300,000 miles because Toyota can do it. But the reality is those things are usually beat at 150. You know, they're pretty much ready to be retired.
Right.
But
Yeah, for
th-
sure. It's
you
like
had
it
a
does
cool
seem like
car. Yeah.
yeah, it was a cool it was
Yeah.
like all red interior.
Oh,
It had like the
awesome.
digital dashboard thing that
The
didn't none of it was
best. The
accurate at all. It was like
green
show that I
digital
had a
dash with the
yeah,
tack that oh, so cool.
it said that I had like a half tank full of gas the first time I drove it and it just like ran out of gas. I was like, "What?" It's like this doesn't have a half tank.
It's
Just
GM. That you just had to know that GM's gas gauges were a joke. All of the 90s. So
yeah,
funny.
it was bad. I ran out of gas. Luckily, it wasn't that far from home. But yeah, that car was fun. It's cool to see them. I've still found some like online that are in good shape. But I think people have this general nostalgia for like a simpler time in cars. And I had this tweet that like went viral that was kind of dumb. And it's like you never know what on Twitter is going to go viral. Let me see if I can find the actual tweet. But basically, I was like, I want to start the anti-Tesla, not that I'm really against Tesla, I actually think they're cool. I kinda like to dog on EVs a little bit because I'm in the oil and gas industry, and it's fun to dog on, and it gets people to have an emotional reaction, but basically, I said, "I wanna start the anti-Tesla car company, the only, like, larger cylinder engines, bare bone basic vehicles, no tech, selling them at affordable price points, and all utility brand." It had, like, 11,000 likes
I saw
and,
that
like,
tweet. I think I liked it.
600,000 whatever, and so it seems like there's something there, right? Like that struck a chord with people. I don't know.
It definitely strikes a chord with people. It's crazy. And I actually kind of hate that because we need some pushback against that mindset, right? Because like there's a lot of benefits to a big V8 with a bunch of torque that can move the car effortlessly. But at the same time, it's really hard to meet emissions regulations. And when I was a kid, of course, I was like, cut the cats off everything, the normal American V8 way. Yeah, here we are with open headers being as obnoxious as possible and smelling all of the byproducts of the combustion, right? Which absolutely stink. And then you get older and you're like, man, I wish I had cats on this car. And
Yeah.
as time goes on, I'm like, these emissions regulations weren't the worst thing for us. Like, they probably have like helped out health generally overall, right? Less smog, less air pollution around us that we're breathing every day. I don't hate DPF at all. I know everybody with diesels loves to hate their DPF and SCR systems because it can cost money. But I also have like straight pipe 7.3 power strokes that if you let them idle in the shop, in a massive shop for like 3 minutes, you can't breathe for an hour. And then I have a brand new power stroke that I can let idle right beside me with all the doors closed for an hour and have no problems. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that when you have a big building, you really can let cars run forever. But
Yeah.
yeah, like 20,000 square foot, you're fine. But the old 7.3 would like end you if you had the doors closed with it running.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy to see all this emission stuff. Like now, even if I was building a race car, I'm going to put high flow cats on it. And from now on, whenever I own a diesel, it'll have DPF and SCR. I mean, I know it's a lot of complexity and I know it destroys the efficiency of the engine, but at the same time, it's so nice to have modern cars idling beside you in traffic where you can just leave your windows down and enjoy life. I mean, it makes it better for
Yeah.
everybody. So,
For sure. And I think like this is a
yeah,
broader theme with just in general stuff like you look at just efficiencies, even like we used to burn a lot of nasty coal and now we burn more
yeah,
natural gas and that's way cleaner.
yeah. Even
Smog is
oil is cleaner than
yeah.
coal. Everything's cleaner than burning coal.
Right, and, like, if you look at China, smog is still such a huge issue, and they're
Yes,
switching a lot of their I just had a guest on last episode that said that, like, 25% of their new, trucks are LNG, so, like, liquefied natural gas, and
sure.
they're like, part of it's, like, it's cheap and compared to gasoline, but the other part of it's, like, smog's a big issue.
It
Nobody
is.
wants to live in smog. So there's
Yes,
like this like hardcore conspiracy theories that are like, oh, they're just trying to dismantle everything and change the new world order. But then there's like
right,
the other side where people have these unreal expectations that everything is going to be electric. But there's definitely a
right.
place in the middle where it's like some of this stuff, like it makes sense. I mean, like I think hybrids make a lot of sense. I think EVs make a lot of sense if you're a commuter and
Yeah,
that's what you want to do. I don't know,
Yeah.
that new Chevy that you showed seemed like it had pretty long distance range. I mean, talk a little bit
Like,
about that one. That seemed
so yeah, the new Silverado EV RST was really fun. The software, I'd say, was half baked at best. The software was really bad, which is bad when the software is how you interface with the vehicle. But the range and the drivetrain and the cargo capacity, with it being like an Avalanche with a midgate, everything about the new Silverado EV was great, except for, one time I unlocked it and only one of the turn signals decided to come on. Like, it had a ton of software issues. But other than that, it's a really, really good truck, and I'm a big fan of it. I'd love to have a Silverado EV, and you could probably do a lot of work with that in reality. Like, if you were in the trades, you could actually use that as a truck.
yeah.
So,
The
yeah.
biggest thing with me on EVs has been I've got some toys, like I have an RV. I load
Hmm.
the back of the truck up with bikes and kids stuff and hauling crap, nothing like heavy duty work stuff, but like gotta haul branches or I gotta haul whatever.
You
So
do.
that stuff you could
You do.
easily do with an EV. The part that
Yes.
kills me is like even with my, 34-gallon F-150, like when I'm hauling a trailer, 4,000-pound trailer, nothing crazy heavy, it eats
Hmm.
through a lot of gas. I mean, like, I'll get
It does.
it's like I don't wanna say it's half the fuel that I get per tank, but it's like 60% maybe.
Probably.
Um,
I mean, you can see the range meter on the dash dropping actively. Like, I start pulling a trailer and my diesel's like 500 unloaded, and then the range is like 323 loaded. And you can tell that's, like you said, about 60%. That maths out right there. It's,
and so
yeah,
that's a tough thing for, like, if you're in a rural area with a truck and, like, let's say you're in the
yeah,
oil field in Midland, you gotta drive, 45 minutes between locations or whatever, and you're hauling something, it's like
sure.
it's gonna eat through that through that battery pretty quick with an
It
EV.
is. It is. And honestly, like, that's just a use case that you can sit down and think about it and be like, that one doesn't really make sense, you know? And that's what it all comes down to, is like letting people pick the vehicle that actually works for them, I think. Um, if people need a diesel or they need a gasser, let them pick their gasser, like whatever they want. And I don't actually think anyone's trying to force EVs on them. Everyone's backed off, right? Because there was the little EV softening where all the targets have now shifted to where every car maker was going to be EV in 2030.
Other
All
than
of that's,
California.
yeah, oh, other than California for sure.
But they're gonna keep backing off
Yeah,
of it anyways, right?
they
Because they
are.
can't
They
meet it.
are.
It's just
Yeah,
not
because
realistic.
the automakers can't meet that either because the rest of the market had to back away. So I don't think anyone's forcing you or trying to take your freedom by giving you EVs, but I do think like the shift to EV is inevitable. And at the same time, like, these things can coexist together. Most people will be daily driving EVs because it makes sense, but you will still have all of the diesel use cases like trucks and maybe even LNG, maybe, or CNG. Oklahoma's big on its CNG, one of the few places that is. Um, and that's also a really, really cool fuel. I've always wanted to have like a Honda Clarity. There's like a CNG LNG version of the Clarity, I think. And if you had a home fueling station for that, it's probably the cheapest possible energy there has ever been. But
Yeah,
it's really hard to get that high pressure transfer pump set up at home. Like, nobody wants you to have that. But if you
yeah,
did, well, what's your natural gas rate? I think it's like 10 cents a pound or so, even
cheap.
less. Yeah, I mean, it's
It's
so
cheap.
cheap. Yeah, maybe even
Yeah.
cheaper than electricity. But
Y
electricity is probably the most efficient way to get fuel from one place into a vehicle. I mean, a million times more efficient than hydrogen. So I
yeah.
truly hope hydrogen fails completely because it's just four extra steps.
It's a lot. Yeah, hydrogen, I
Yeah,
don't think people realize the process that's involved and how hard it is to transport and store and how flammable it is and just
yeah.
everything else. But what about so I haven't really driven EVs. Maybe I've driven one time, but
Okay,
like
okay.
I've kinda like when I did the energy podcast, it was like focused on a lot of energy stuff and all
Yeah,
that narrative was being pushed. It was easy for me to dog on it and be like, this isn't realistic. Plus, it's like clickbait, engagement bait.
it
You say
is.
something bad about EVs and everyone piles on. They're like, yeah, like, you know,
Isn't that, I think, the biggest driver of the whole like EV thing in everyone's heads is the fact that we all know that if we're negative or positive about the EVs, either way, we'll get all the haters on the positive and we'll get all the lovers on the hate posts, right? So there's no reason to take like a good stance, like, hey, this works for some people, you know? Although I think, I think all of us creators are very clearly pushing, if you're driving to and from work and you have maybe one other car to go on road trips, the EV is perfect for you. But at the same time, we know that if we can just latch on to one of those, it's not real like I hate or I love audiences. It works so well for the content, and that's what's really created like this battle. The battle wouldn't exist if it wasn't for sensationalization and money, right? Because we make our money off sensationalizing the new. Everyone does. I don't want to say I do. Everyone makes the money off sensationalizing the argument.
Well, what I'm gonna say is that what I
So
really like about your channel and your content is that, at least from the stuff I've watched, is like you're not doing a lot of clickbaity sensationalism stuff, at least that I've
yeah,
seen.
no, I try not to.
Yeah,
I
and I think
Yeah,
that's really hard to do. That's the
yeah,
hardest type of brand and the hardest distribution channel to build is authentic content. It
yeah.
is like that's like you're playing on hard mode.
It is. It actually is hard mode, and it doesn't work as well as it should. I'd say like if I did write better titles and spend more time coming up with slightly more clickbaity stuff, it would make more money. So
Yeah. If you were like, you got to start them being like, wait till the end and the craziest thing happens, just so you get people to
right,
like wait till
right.
the
And the
end.
craziest thing is nothing happened at all.
Yeah, nothing
That's
happened at
always
all.
that's it.
But then you
That's
lose
it.
like the hard, because I think the people that follow whenever you're just being authentic are the more hardcore people that actually like you for you and the stuff that you do,
Yes.
rather than just
Yes.
following because they got tricked by some thumbnail. And to me,
Right.
that's a lot more equity in the brand.
It is, and my subscribers are definitely like that. In fact, I make a lot of videos that would push away the casual watchers, because it's nice that like now I've built this base into like 400,000 really good subscribers, because the people that were just kind of here for a minute, they all left, right? They're not watching at all. So where I could have seen a lot of growth, I can see like the subscribers like dropping when I'm making like the daily story of my life stuff. So it's not going down. I still gain at least 1,000 a month, which is really bad, I think. I mean,
That's not
it
hard. That's not easy to do. I mean, 1,000 a month
yeah.
is for like these big clickbaity YouTube channels that follow the formula, sure. But for like
Yes.
social media in general, because I've grown small, like whatever audiences across different platforms, like 1,000 subscribers is a good month. I mean, in our like real estate stuff, we're doing like around 3,000 a month in Instagram. And I'm like thrilled about that. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
that's amazing.
incredible.
Amazing, actually. Yeah. What's funny is I grew all of my old Instagram with like follows and interactions with people. We would follow. Well, I had some older media brands where we just ran like follow unfollow scripts, which were early day stuff, and I've since sold those. Um, but they had a lot of followers that actually were still there and interacting with the brand, which was crazy, because we did follow unfollow, but with like a nonstop like bot too. So it would just like everyone's posts, and I would also be on Instagram at the same time, like commenting on everything. I'd comment on like thousands of posts a day, just encouraging them or saying, that's cool that stuff like that. So you can't do that anymore, but that was a cool way to growth hack 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was I remember that back in the early days of, like, Twitter and stuff like that. But back on the EV thing real quick, because I can get
Yeah,
sidetracked
yeah,
on the
yeah.
content
Yeah, no,
stuff.
we can talk EVs all day. Absolutely.
Well,
I
you
love them.
seem to really like them, and you've got
Love
some
them.
what just talk broadly about, everybody obviously Tesla's the most popular one, but there's some others out there that seem like sleepers that I've seen you talking about that you say that they're really nice.
There are so many good EVs. Obviously, I think the first name for everybody's obviously Tesla, and then Rivian, because they're making killer stuff. Lucid's out there making one of the most epic, big sedans with long legs, 500-mile range. So you got to love that. I love the Lucid interior, love the UI. It's all really nice. It's put together more like a Mercedes S-Class than a Honda Civic, like the Model 3, Um, but it's not a price point car either. Like the Lucid is one of them is $250,000. So it's a little bit of a different market. And everybody else is kind of making competent stuff too, like Silverado EV, Hummer EV, very cool. And even the Fisker Ocean, I think, is very cool, even though it's already dead. I mean, I got to play with Riches last week, and I was a big fan of it. And all EVs are I want to say they're all technology forward, but they're all semi technology forward and really nice interfaces. That's it's just new and it all works. And the my favorite thing about EVs is we can put all the software and the driving behind us. It's just the drivetrain. That the fact that the drivetrain comes down to a battery, three big cables to an inverter, and three more big cables to a motor. And even the air conditioning is just three more wires, right? The air conditioning is just a motor. So all of the complexity and the stuff that I've spent my life working on, the complexity of the internal combustion engine, the head gasket problems, the fact that now every single engine out there is turbocharged with loads of complexity so that we can meet emissions regulations and still have power. EVs do all of that with basically no moving parts, and it's so much better from a wrenching perspective.
Yeah.
So
It seems like they'd be fun to drive. I've looked at someone the other day. I was watching I think a YouTube video. And they were talking about how cheap like these used Teslas are, and so
so cheap.
I started looking it up, and there are some crazy cheap ones. I mean, it's like Model S Plaid, but it's like a 2017 or 18.
$55,000.
Yeah, I mean, no, they have them like if you go back to like 2015, 16, if it's got like 60, 70,000 miles, they're like 20 grand. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're
And,
pretty cheap, but
and
I
if
don't
you
know
want to
how
go
bad.
real old, if you want to go to like the 13 Model S's, which is like I think the second year of the Model S, $10,000 all day. You could have a very reasonable car to drive to work that will probably never break for $10,000 unless the battery fails, but it's
That's
kind
the
of
big
expected.
if.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big
Yeah.
if is like the battery thing, but, so do you know on, like, the new ones, are those the only ones that are getting some of these advanced, driving, self-driving type features? Maybe not the full self-driving, or do the older ones have some of that stuff too? Or is it just a software upgrade, or is there hardware components that only allow the new ones to do the self-driving stuff?
The very first Teslas have nothing. Like no, they're like basic cruise control, no adaptive cruise control, no lane centering, no ADAS, just cruise control. And then right after that, by I think 2014 or something like that, they started getting autopilot, 2014, 2015. And autopilot, the early Mobileye autopilot's very good. It's excellent lane centering. It has adaptive cruise, which is about all you need, right? It's the one where you have to touch the wheel every once in a while, but it just keeps the car going down the road. Perfect for your road trips, highway driving, stuff like that. And then FSD support is after hardware 3 in the Teslas. So I think you're in like into 2017 or something like that. Hardware 3 and hardware 4 are the ones that really support the good ADAS, the full self-driving. And then you can actually add it full aftermarket. I have Comet in my Volt. It's a 2017 Chevy Volt hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and it will drive across the country no problem. And you don't have to touch the wheel either. It has eye tracking. So all of the ADAS is incredible, and it does go back quite a ways. 5 years. There's 5 years of really good ADAS to keep you in your lane and handle the cruise control.
Do you think like because of these giant leaps and these things that it will cause these cars to depreciate faster? Like if
Oh,
they came out with
absolutely.
hardware 5 or whatever, hardware 6, and it does just like
Yeah.
incredibly better than hardware 4 and it can do
Yeah.
everything now, then it's like who wants hardware 4?
You can see it in the prices that it did crush a lot of the old stuff. That's why the old stuff's nearly free. Like there's $15,000 Model 3s pretty common now. And those I think all Model 3s have hardware 3. But yeah, you can see EV values did get crushed, and I blame Tesla for a lot of that because they should have never relaxed any of their pricing because it hurt their consumers. So at the same time as like the COVID price jumps and people paying over market for their cars, Tesla like had all these cars selling for $120,000, like the Plaid and the Plaid X and stuff like that. And then they went and took the exact same car and lowered the price, the new price by $20,000 to $40,000. And can you imagine, like, if you bought a new Suburban, what's that? Like a new reasonable Suburban's $60,000, 50, 60, 50 to $80,000. I think you can get it to 100. But then the next year, Chevy was like, just kidding, it's 30. And you lost $20,000 because Chevy changed the price overnight. That's insane, and that's what Tesla did, and they literally put all of their customers underwater by sometimes as much as $60,000. Like, all Plaid owners are pretty much underwater $60,000, the price of a new Chevy Suburban, because Tesla changed the price.
That's crazy.
So,
Like Chris
I
Chris Corner, I don't know if you follow him. He's
y
been on my pod, but
yeah,
he like
yeah,
he
MHP
posted
guy,
about
right?
yeah, he posted
Yeah,
about his Tesla S and he was
uh-huh.
like, "Yeah, it just sucks that I bought it like before they did the price drop thing." I saw like a tweet about that.
They literally destroyed the lives of their own consumers, and people are like, their argument's always, "It's a technology product, it's not a car," which is insane. It's got 4 wheels and it drives you around the country. But they love to say it's a technology product and not a car, so it's meant to lose all of its value, and also, like, you did it on purpose. And I'd say like 75% of Tesla's customers are people that were like reaching to afford that car because they wanted something cool with a Tesla logo on it, and they spent everything they had to buy that car, right? They probably pushed that. It's like a 72-month loan that they're paying 1,800 a month for some Model 3, and now their car is worth like 25, you know? They destroyed those consumers' lives, and what's funny is those people are like paying for the market to stabilize now. Like, though, they really destroyed a lot of people that can't afford those cars. They destroyed their lives. So I get it. Everyone's like, they signed up for it, but really, did they sign up for it? Because there's never been another car in history that's depreciated like this, except Mercedes S-Class. But
I've never really heard someone put it that way, but it is kind of
yeah,
like messed up. I
yeah,
mean, I
it's
saw
messed
it
up.
and you were like, "Man, that sucks." But then like hearing you talk about it like that, I'm like, "Geez, that is
Yeah.
pretty brutal."
Yeah, I need to make a whole video on it. I was gonna do it with the Cybertruck too, because it's hilarious that Foundation series we're selling for 120, 200 for Foundation Cyber Beasts, and now they're dropping the base. I know the base isn't the Cyber Beast, but you're getting the same truck without FSD now for half price again, 60 grand, right? They say it's 69, it's really like 72 after, because you don't count their gas savings on the website. But the reality is, like, 6 months from now, $50,000 Cybertrucks will exist, and all those people just paid 120 a year ago. Like, that's insane.
Doesn't pay to be
So
first on that stuff.
no, it does, unless you're a content creator, then it paid to be first, and I hope you sold your truck right when they came out. Like, that's the only way it worked. I had one ordered, and I love the Cybertruck. Would love to have one because it's crazy. It's probably the most attention-getting thing on the road. Everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to sit in it. Let everybody have their fun with it. But I'm so glad I canceled my pre-order because I'd be upside down $60,000 on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
probably a good call.
yeah,
Switching to the Airbnb stuff, talk about
sure,
that. I mean, you did the one up by Grand Lake. You
yeah.
mentioned that it didn't work as well as you wanted to, but it looks like you did a good job on it. I mean, tell us a little bit about that story and then like what are some of the things you learned?
So we bought this place for 40 a year ago in June, roughly a year ago. It's a little over now. And we spent about 6 months going through it, and it was sold to us as like 750 square foot. After we got into it, we found out they had like enclosed the deck, and it was falling off the house basically. So it was really like 500 square foot. So we ripped the deck off, trashed all of that, gutted the whole house. 100% of the sheetrock was replaced. We moved all the walls because the bathroom was in a bad place, replumbed the whole thing, all new wiring. It's a brand new house. Like, the only thing that stayed was the roof and a few pieces of siding, because we ended up residing the entire front of the house and almost all of the back. And we changed all the windows. So we had to reside everything to fit the new windows, all the low E windows and all that fun stuff. And we went in. It's got all the home automation toys, HomeKit, everything, Unify network, cameras, Sonos amplifiers, JBL speakers throughout. Toe kick lighting under the cabinets, all North Point cabinets, all real wood stuff. Like, we finished this place out so nice. We spent another 60 and change, probably just in material, not counting our labor. So we're in it a ways over 100. And then once I was done with it, I was like, we can't rent this out. Like, it is way too nice to be on Airbnb, because a lot of it's because I follow like you, Ryan Dan's, a lot of Retwit. I think I follow most of Retwit and a lot of Airbnb Twit, especially the guy that owns TechFester.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Taylor
the
Jones.
Taylor Jones. So I follow all you guys and I see all the horror stories, and I also saw the whole thing where now no reviews or any review that's under 4 stars, and even a 4 star review is a horrific review. And I was like, if we don't nail this, we're screwed. And I'm so far away from that house that I can't manage it myself.
Mhm.
So we were just in a tricky place where I couldn't drive 3.5 hours after each guest to clean it up real quick. And there's no real property management around Grand Lake for me to have deal with the problem.
What side is
So
it? Like, what side is it on? Like, where's it
it's
at?
beside Disney, 5 minutes from Disney.
You could probably find there's so like over by like Monkey Island and some of the, I almost bought a place on Monkey Island that I really liked and I got outbid on it. It was crazy. It was when COVID was going on and someone bid way more than it was worth.
Of
But
course.
there are some there are some people, there's some groups like in that area. But if you're like at least you're close to Disney. I mean, like if you weren't, I don't know, I guess that is a little further away from there. Is it across the dam or is it on the other?
It's across the dam.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's not
on
that far from, like, the highway
Yeah.
or from town. You might be able to find some cleaning people.
Yeah, yeah, we're super close to Langley, obviously, and the best part about our Airbnb, one of our biggest draws, I thought, is we have a parking lot beside it that can hold a 53-foot semi. Like if you want to bring a full
Yeah.
semi of side by sides, you can. Or there's room for a shop if you wanted to build it. So we have two gigantic lots. We put a massive deck on the back, all composite, 250 plus square foot. We've rebuilt the deck, but nice. And everything's super nice, ready for like some couple that wants to go rock crawling or Airbnb. It would be ideal, but it's too small. The nightly rate wouldn't have been high enough. And then I had to worry about the pressure of reviews at the same time. Like if I was getting 200 a night, I'd be thrilled. But I think the off-air DNA and the rest of the market, I feel like 99, like 130 a night, 99 is
Yeah.
probably the real sweet spot. And I can't rent it for that unless I'm locking in like, minimum 7 day stays. I think that might work. But beyond that, it just doesn't make any financial sense. So we never rented it one time and I just put it up for sale.
Yeah. Well, you probably learned a
Yeah.
lot. I think the smaller cabin size thing is it's a feature that we've experienced too. I mean, we only have one bedroom cabin. We sold the other one, and it's just hard to make money because you can only charge so much per night. And,
Yes.
on a really good time of the year, maybe we got 280, 300, probably not even 300 nowadays. Maybe back before the market was saturated, you could get that. But then you start
Yeah.
renting it for like $150 or something, and you're like, this just doesn't even hardly like the
It doesn't
place,
make any sense.
breaks even basically. But it's
Yeah.
like for the amount of work that you have to
Right.
do, it's the same amount of work
Management.
to manage like a 7 bedroom as it is a 1 bedroom, pretty much.
Yes, yes, and you're getting the same wear and tear. And nobody actually cares about your stuff because they paid for it. So it's their right to do what they want to your house because they paid for it. So they're gonna come in here and tear stuff up and you're gonna be fixing it. And at any point something could happen that causes it to be not break even, not even close to break even. So I was really worried about that after we got it done and just decided it would be smart to never rent it out. And we've used it like 4 times or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
That's cool
about
that you
it.
got some use out of it, and you probably learned
Yeah.
a lot too. What about the other home building stuff that you're doing? What else you got going on?
So that's my new house that I wasn't planning on moving into. It just had a shop and I needed a shop to work on the cars for the YouTube channel. So I bought a house on an acre and a half, acre 175, something like that. And it has a 60 by 40 shop. So we built the shop out first, made it super nice. And then I was like, I'm really tired of paying all these house bills. So we decided to do a gut renovation on it because, I was tired of paying the house bills. So we're spending all of my money building like my dream house where the shop is so I can sell the house that I have now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, I built a bunch of homes in a partnership for the real estate stuff, and it's kind of a pain, but it's also cool because you can like make it the way you want it to be. And
Yeah.
I've always toyed around with the idea. My wife like wants to build a house one day, and I'm like, wait until we're not like building houses on this other stuff because it's like I can't. There's just too much to
It
do. But and I'm not like the handy guy that's going out there and doing it. I'm having to find good people to do it. So
That's hard too. It's great that I do almost all of it myself. I've got a good group of friends that does a lot of the stuff with me. I can handle all the plumbing and electrical because I grew up doing all that. But my brother-in-law is like the framer and finish guy. He builds houses for a living, so it's good having him around, and then a small team of people, like a really good sheetrock finisher that handles all the stuff like these walls behind you and all that stuff. So it's you got to find some killers, right? And then hopefully reliable killers at the same time to do all that contracting work. And you're always doing it, right? You've got a lot of cabins.
There's like 7 in the portfolio, and there's another one that we're managing that some of the partners did. I'm doing a personal one now that with like my partner on the energy side. We bought a lot and we kind of been sitting on it for a few years. So we finally pulled the trigger. And then I'm probably going to do another one with a group of guys here soon. But yeah, I mean, it's been a bunch. So we'll be up to, and then the fund that we raised still has like some lots. We may do one river lot that we've kind of held back. So, at some point within the group of people that I work with, there may be 10 or 12 in that range. And then we've kicked around like we just recently switched to self management, which is a huge pain, but like we know
I
like a lot
bet.
of the contacts for like um cleaning and maintenance and all that stuff, but we're trying to do the guest relations thing. We hired 2 VAs, and they're
Okay.
really good, but still, even with that, it's like a bunch of stuff, finds its way back to you. So it's like it's
Slips
a
through the
full day.
cracks or you have
Yeah.
to deal. Yeah.
And we got a
Yeah.
partner that's like his full-time job, and he's
Oh.
all he works on, and
Mhm.
it's almost too much for one I mean, he needs help, right? He's got his brother working for him as a handyman, and we've got these VAs now, and we'll probably need to hire another person. So it's definitely not something that you're like, oh, passive on the side thing.
Yes.
It's like a full-time job.
Yeah, it's all everything's a full-time job. It's so funny. Even like Turo was the same thing where I was like, yeah, I'll just rent out some cars and make some money on the side. Nope, you got to go drive to the cars and deal with the guests and answer their messages, immediately, any time of the day. Same with Airbnb. You got to be on top of the messages. If anything goes wrong, they're going to push for Airbnb to give their money back. Like it's no part-time job, that's for sure. It's work.
I
Yeah.
like it better than the single family homes. I did that for a while, and it's
Okay.
maybe less like daily interaction because there's less guests checking in and checking out, but you just don't make any money doing those really. I mean, you make a little bit, but hot water
Yeah.
heater goes out, you lose a whole year worth of profit. So it's like it's a tough deal. What about like going to the future? The channel's going, you're doing your lifestyle blog with it. You've got the tech channel. You want to spool more of that up. Anything else you've got like planned or that you're thinking about pursuing, or is it just kind of stay the course and make the content and keep doing you?
I think like my end goal when I built everything for the tech studio was to move more towards just the tech studio to towards tech throwback. But the issue was like transitioning from the channel that makes money to the channel where I want to make money is unbelievably hard. Like I needed to make a video in here each morning and then go to the shop and shoot a whole nother video, switch gears to the other channel and shoot another video working on cars and then have both edited and do both every day. Like you really would need to make 2 videos a day for a year to do a transition that would work and keep paying the bills. So it just Herculean task, almost impossible. The videos for Tech Throwback take 4 times longer to edit than my car videos. It's a big mental task. It just drains you.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to scale what you're doing, like bring people in and hire them, or
Oh, yes. I have had a cameraman at one point, but I don't know. Some automotive YouTubers have gotten really lucky and found cameramen that instinctively either grew up running a camera or know how to focus on the right thing or might know a little bit about cars, so it's easy. Obviously, I don't need anyone else for this channel except maybe an editor because these are fixed cameras. There's like one above me, one in front of me, maybe a third angle. So it's a pretty simple shot. None of it has to move. But the car stuff is actually very intensive when you're shooting, and I need people that know how to have the camera in the right place at the right time, and that's been really hard to find and really hard to train. So I had one of my friends as a cameraman for a while, and he was doing great, but we really weren't. He wasn't having enough work to like really replace a full time job
sure?
because
That's the hardest thing, man. Scaling a business, it's so hard. Like I always have said that scaling and pricing. I mean, you don't have to really do pricing because you're getting the monetization. But I guess if you ever have you ever done sponsorships or
oh
anything like
yeah,
that?
oh yeah, lots of them.
To me, pricing is always hard. It's like, what should I charge for something? And then also the decision of like, when should I hire, who should I hire, how to maximize the dollar. Those are hard
Yeah.
things to figure out.
Yeah, and once you do hire them, you really need to be able to keep them busy, busy, not just busy for a couple hours making a video. They need they need to put in a full day. It's it's just one of those things, not even because you need them to put in a full day, just because people actually need to do a full day of work to have their own gratification in life, right? If they show up for a couple hours, do a little bit of work and get paid, and then just sit around on the couch aimlessly the rest of the day, I feel like it just grinds on your mind. You're like, I should be doing something. So I don't think most people love that life where they're only having to work for a couple hours a day and they could be out making more money. You don't want to have to fill that with Uber Eats or something. You want a full time job because it helps you. It just takes a lot of load, mental stress off your brain every day. So
For sure.
yeah, you got to keep people busy.
Definitely. Well, I've always like utilized partnerships too. It's like giving up some of the upside, but I wouldn't have been able to do all the things I've done without splitting up the pie and having good partners, which is a whole another hard thing to find. But if you have good people that like are passionate, that work hard, that you trust, sometimes it's worth it having a partner on things or multiple partners. That's like the only way I've been able to scale is I just couldn't, just everybody being an employee, like sure, but like do you run into the principal agent problem where it's like, do they really care as much as you care? And most of the time they
Right.
don't.
And if they have a stake, they care a lot more. Yeah. And that's the lake house is split with my brother-in-law, and I put all the money up front, and he covered the materials, most of the materials. We there were times when we just split the stuff, or I paid it so that we could stay even on it, but we're like a 50-50 split on that. And since we both have a big stake in it, obviously we're both trying to make it successful. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a huge thing. It's a good way to do it.
yeah.
But man, thank you for coming on. Like I had a fun conversation. I love following along and watching your stuff. I'm super fascinated with the people that have made content their full-time thing. I feel like I've never really devoted what I needed to make it a full-time thing, but I've always just thought it's cool and it's something that I enjoy hearing stories like yours where you've made it happen. So congrats on that and keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great talking to you. Anytime.
Awesome. Where's the
Uh,
best
we
place to what's go ahead.
We I was gonna say we can talk energy whenever you want to, because I've also done a lot of some oil field steam generators and a lot of municipal waste and freshwater back in the day too. A lot of SCADA systems. Yeah, a lot of industrial controls, SCADA and HMI stuff. Yeah, yeah, and a little bit of oil. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you're that or make some content sometime, do something. You're not too far away. So
I've made some steam generator content if you wanna watch that stuff. So it's sort of interesting. If you're into oil and gas, you're interested in it. A lot of people weren't, but yeah.
I think it's interesting. How do people find what's your channel names for people? I don't know if I already
It's
said it.
WatchJRGO everywhere except for Twitter, WatchJRGO 1198. I guess we call it X now. And then Tech Throwback everywhere else for the tech channel. So those are the two main channels.
JR, thanks again. And we'll talk
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Cool.
guys.
Thanks for having me, Max.